Achieving energy sufficiency, the transformatory future of Nigeria's oil and gas in focus. Nigeria's healthcare delivery system, issues and gaps in the last 6 decades. Plus, food sufficiency, a peep into the homes of women in Abuja, bracing up for the Every Home a Garden competition by Nigeria's First Lady. Many thanks for joining us on this edition of The Correspondence. We have a package that will worth your while. I am Zenret Dingmun. You're welcome. We begin with the energy sector in the last 64 years. In the last 6 decades, Nigeria has been on a journey to achieve energy sufficiency and security for its citizens as a province blessed with some oil. After these years, the country has finally commenced an aggressive drive to harness enormous natural gas reserves to diversify its energy mix. Correspondent Lydia Sampson, in this report, examines the journey so far.
In the aspect of the economy now, we that use it for business, we enjoy it better than fuel. So we feel like this CNG of a thing is just a breakthrough for us.
Israel Stephen, a commercial motorist who converted his car to compressed natural gas, testifying on the cost-effective benefits. He, amongst many others, justifies why Nigeria is intensifying efforts to promote compressed natural gas as a viable alternative to petrol, aiming for 1 million CNG vehicles by 2027.
So what we've been doing is we've been signing off of convention partners. Today we have well over 75 convention partners signed up will be, as of today officially, will be 8 states. These 8 states are the ones where convention incentive program have been kicked off. This is a net win for all Nigerians. And that's why we all must stand by Mr. President.
Most recently, there's even free conversion.
To this effect, government has mandated the installation of CNG dispensing pumps, supported by stakeholders like NIPCO Gas, which already operates 15 CNG stations and is partnering the NNPC Limited with plans to expand more CNG dispensing stations across the country.
When you compare gas to coal, gas is on the positive aspect of it, 50% better than the coal and 30% better than PMS. And so the country is on course, the president is on course.
Achieving energy sufficiency and security in Nigeria is indeed a multifaceted journey. This is as government continues to diversify the energy mix and sources, emphasizing options including natural gas and renewables like solar and wind, alongside improving existing oil and gas infrastructure. Nigeria's journey towards energy sufficiency and security continues to be uneasy, with challenges yet rich in potential.
We are also, creating, investment climate, both the regulatory framework, both the fiscal framework, so that we could be globally competitive to be able to attract investors, into Nigeria. Not just the upstream, but also the midstream, and then, the downstream.
Legislative efforts such as the Petroleum Industry Act aim to enhance domestic supply security. Similarly, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu signed 3 executive orders on February 28, 2024, aimed at revitalizing the oil and gas sector. These reforms introduce fiscal incentives, streamline contracting processes, and enhance local content compliance to attract investment and boost economic growth.
One of the focus areas for this administration is really to think through what we do to enable ourselves to provide energy security, to make sure we're doing so sustainably, and that we are able to make sure that this is affordable.
Nigeria's oil and gas industry remains a cornerstone of its economy 64 years after independence, with proven reserves of 37.1 billion barrels and a production capacity of 2.5 million barrels per day. It significantly contributes to national revenue and export earning. Despite this, the sector faces challenges such as crude oil theft, pipeline vandalism, outdated infrastructure, and environmental degradation. This is making it difficult for optimal oil production.
It is high time we stop acts of criminality within the Niger Delta, and that is the essence. I want to assure Nigerians that we're all working together as a team, all the security forces, including the NMPC, including all the IOCs, to ensure that we stop this menace of pipeline vandalism, oil theft, and what.
The orders of Mr. President to bring sanity back into the oil and gas industry, particularly with respect to the challenging security situation we have around our assets. We understand very clearly that restoring this will help us bring back production in our country, bring hope to the communities in which we operate.
The commencement of petroleum production by the Dangote refinery is expected to put an end to fuel importation and fuel scarcity by eliminating onshore supply chains.
For PMS alone, every day with 60,000 barrels of crude, if we are processing, we can generate more than 54 million liters of PMS.
Now, Nigeria's oil and gas sector faces a transformative future marked by new discoveries and regulatory reforms. Government is determined to diversify the economy, address challenges like infrastructure deficit and security. Enhance local participation, key players say, can reshape the industry landscape, attracting investment, fostering sustainability, and a robust energy sector.
Lydia Sampson now joins us to discuss further Nigeria's oil and gas sector. You're welcome to the Correspondent.
Thank you, Zaiwet, for having me.
Okay, now let's begin with this. The Compressed Natural Gas Initiative, a breakthrough for Nigeria, especially for the beneficiaries and, of course, commercial vehicle drivers. But why is the cost of transportation still very high?
Thank you. Indeed, the compressed natural gas is a game changer in the energy mix, but the number of commercial vehicles that have converted so far are still a bit negligible, even though more people are coming on board. But also, let's not forget that it's biofuel, because you still operate your CNG, and once you run out, you can just, with a button, switch back to your petrol. And so it's a gradual process. It's the game changer. Eventually, slowly, will come to feel the impact. For now, let me just try to compare it to a building. When you start from the foundation, often you don't see the beauty and you don't even appreciate it. But as more and more people keep converting, especially commercial motorists, that's where the impact on bringing down the price of transportation will be felt. As more of them continue to convert, we'll begin to feel the impact. And I believe the presidential initiative on compressed natural gas is also concerned that commercial motorists have been changing. Some even got 50% discount, and lately they started free conversion for commercial motorists. But they said they will need to put in a tracker so that it will be able to track, and it will be boldly written in most of this commercial gas that they are using CNG, so that anyone using their transport will know that they are entitled to a discounted rate. But for now, because of the dual fueling and so many other logistical challenges, we may not feel the impact immediately. But like any building, from foundation, and when it's fully erected, we'll feel the impact. It is definitely going to be the game changer for us as a people, because nowhere in the world is any country relying on one energy. There's always an energy mix. And compressed natural gas, we started, in fact, if you ask me, a bit late, but hopefully it will really, really be something that we will applaud going forward.
Okay, now with the distribution of free kits to transporters and a growing number of CNG centers, yet there are few major dispensing centers, especially in the Federal Capital Territory. Why is that so?
It's still related to the issue of beginnings. When you start anything early, you definitely have teething problems. And I think government on its own also maybe might have underestimated the way people welcome the compressed natural gas. I use compressed natural gas now, even though I still use petrol. But you go to the stations now and you see a longer queue. And I took up the minister and the CEO of the PCNG on it and said, are we going to repeat what is happening with petrol, that people are converting and adopting CNG, and now queues are coming up. But they did give me assurance that they're partnering. Government is already partnering with private sector, because it's not government that will come up with dispensing stations for CNG. It's a private sector-driven initiative. But government is supporting them and partnering with them. And recently, 6 companies were identified as gas promoters, and they got some support from government. I believe the more people are using CNG, the more the private sector operators in the oil and gas sector will see the need to invest and also come up with dispensing stations. But there are projections that every state of the Federation will have more. And even right now in Abuja, though we have only 2 reliable ones, there are processes. NNPC, for one, is partnering with NIPCO, and I know they started just barely once and had challenges, but that is why the teething problem comes in. And it's a new experience for all of us here. And so more private sector participation is being encouraged, and government is aware of this immediate challenge. But it's a good problem, because it means more people are coming on board. Because if you say, let's do CNG, let's do CNG, and you don't see people coming up to convert their vehicles, then it means people are not embracing it and they are not having their buy-in. But right now, it means there are a lot of people coming on board, and this logistics channel is something that government is coming up head-on to partner with the private sector to make sure we have more CNG dispensing stations. And I think hopefully soon we'll see the difference.
Of course, we hope that happens. Yeah. Now, let's turn our attention to crude oil now. With the regulatory reforms, the challenges of crude oil theft and pipeline vandalization still persist. Now, is there any hope in sight from your experiences and coverage of the bit?
Yeah, there is hope in sight. It is not a hurry yet, because it still persists, like you said. But government is aware of this. And lately, if you look at what government is doing, they did not just leave it in the hands of the oil and gas operators. They brought in the military. In fact, ultimatum has been given, and military is working with all, including the national oil companies, international oil companies, and various stakeholders. And in the past, a lot of people were complicit. I think people just believe it's an all-comers affair, like they used to say cynically, it's a national cake, let's have our take. But it's no longer like that. People know that you can't get away with it because it's considered a crime. And if you are caught, there are consequences. So now, the crude oil thieves are looking for different ways. But as much as government is also deploying technology and collaborating with private and state security agencies, I wouldn't say we've won the fight, but we are, the federal government, not Lydia per se, government is winning the fight. And I believe, hopefully, it's something that we will be able to get away with, or at least take to the barest minimum, because it's really affecting production output. And Nigeria is having challenges meeting her OPEC quota, even though sometimes you see the production output will increase, sometimes it will dwindle. But I believe it's a fight that is ongoing, and it's a fight that government and key players in the industry are determined to win.
Well, that's an issue that's plagued the sector for years, and we do hope that the federal government wins that fight. So now the big question, Lydia, share with us your experience in the past years covering the oil and gas sector.
Honestly, I would say it's a mixed bag. There are good days, but especially the fact that, oil and gas is something that impacts directly everybody's life. And little glitches can bring a lot of challenges to people. And because you cover the sector, there are things you are aware of that you are careful not to talk about. Like, I remember the Occupy Nigeria in 2012. In the newsroom in 24, we're talking, and I told my colleagues that we're just avoiding the inevitable, delaying the inevitable, that no matter how long it takes, deregulation is the way to go. I almost got lynched. 12 years later, I'm glad we're in it. Coming a little bit late, but it is something that if pursued genuinely, the deregulation with a free market, players, everyone can come in. And the best experience I had was an assignment I went to outside Nigeria. And there was a gas station just very close to the hotel where we're living. We have a driver that would drive us long distance before he goes to top off his gas. And I said, what is this? Why don't you just use the gas station nails? And he said, ma'am, here, it is deregulated and we go for the cheapest. And it's going to take a while, but even that is something that we'll celebrate, especially as Nigeria is no longer focusing on just crude oil. There's diversity of energy mix. We have now the CNG, we have natural gas, we have LPG, we have the crude oil, and more indigenous players are coming in. The Dangote refinery is something also that will impact, and that one is also a story for another day. But it's a great experience. You get to know things that sometimes you are really genuinely scared to talk about, because oil and gas till 2045 will still be part of a great energy mix globally. If you notice, I converted my car because it's not just about talking to people. It's about being part of the energy mix and experiencing it, so that when you will talk, you know that you're talking from a point of knowledge, not from a point of what people are telling you.
Well, Lydia, I believe it's a long walk, but I'm sure with patience and commitment, we'll get to our destination.
Hopefully.
Thank you so much, Lydia, for being part of the Correspondence this week. And we hope to see you again soon and with better news for us.
Hopefully so. Thank you for having me.
And still to come, hands on the soil. Women in Abuja show good examples of turning every home into a garden. Details in just a moment. Join us again. You're watching the Correspondence. Now to Nigeria's healthcare system. 64 years ago, Nigeria took that step towards self-determination, setting the stage for growth in every area, including healthcare. Since then, the country's healthcare system has faced its fair share of challenges, but continues to push forward, rising above the odds. In this special report, Correspondent Uche Ugochukwu examines the remarkable story of how stronger policies have not only helped the sector survive, but also thrive, bringing healthcare closer to the people.
Picture the scenario where a woman in a remote village weeps over her sick child, the nearest hospital miles away. That scenario captures the reality of millions of Nigerians just after independence in 1960. Then, accessing healthcare was a luxury, especially for those living in rural areas. Determined to change this, the government made a bold move in 1975 with the introduction of a health policy that aimed at providing basic healthcare to all Nigerians. The real turning point came in the 1980s with the introduction of the primary healthcare strategy. In 1987, the Bamako initiative shifted things further by encouraging communities to take an active role in their own healthcare. Health centers began to spring up, and for the first time, healthcare was coming closer to the people who needed it the most. But the journey was not without its challenges. As Nigeria stepped into the 21st century, new hurdles emerged.
What the Nigerian Medical Association is doing to ensure, first and foremost, that the quality of care reaches international best practices and that it also reaches all Nigerians.
Despite significant efforts, systemic issues like inadequate funding and shortage of healthcare professionals continue to pose hurdles, creating deep disparities in health outcomes across the nation. Fast forward to recent years, Nigeria has taken bold steps to reform and reposition its healthcare system. The National Health Act of 2014, for instance, aims at addressing the persistent gaps in healthcare financing and access, while the COVID-19 pandemic accelerated the use of technology in healthcare delivery. Today, however, as Nigeria looks to the future, the goal is clear: to build a resilient healthcare system that can stand the test of time. The present administration is driving a 4-point agenda on health, focused on making healthcare accessible to all Nigerians, no matter their location or status.
The third pillar of our agenda is to unlock the healthcare value chain. And as you know, Mr. President is very keen that we domesticate production capabilities. We produce what we need: pharmaceuticals, test kits, even vaccines over time.
as part of the integrated healthcare delivery, one of the top priority in that is health promotion, lifestyle changes, healthy lifestyle.
In one of the biggest breakthroughs in recent years, Nigeria made history with the launch of the EGFR testing kit for early detection, screening and diagnosis of lung cancer. This new tool is not just a win for the healthcare sector, but a life-saving advancement for many Nigerians.
Currently, we have a lot of linkages, collaboration with international who are willing to come so that we can conduct our own researches, including clinical trial.
Although challenges remain, the milestone attained these past 64 years, particularly in the health sector, tells a powerful story of resilience, determination and hope, a journey that continues to unfold with each passing day.
I quite agree with you, Uche. It has been a journey of survival for Nigerians in their efforts to access quality and affordable health care. But then, there is hope for a better tomorrow. Many thanks. And here is another exciting story. Many women in Abuja are keying into the Every Home a Garden initiative of Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu. They have found the program to be a powerful way to connect with nature. Some of them are not just growing food, but cultivating resilience, self-sufficiency, and a sense of empowerment. Correspondent Alika Opanachi Arua shows us how women in Abuja turned their backyards into sources of strength and sustenance.
Those places we find food stored and sold are a pretty recent inventions. The first supermarket in the USA opened in 1949. Before then, our food came from forests, fields, gardens, and backyards.
Virtually every day, I consume from my garden. I never thought of planting cassavas. Like last year, I had just 12 sacks, but this year I'm having about 25 sacks.
Today, many women like Pamela, Nimat, and Amodatu are stepping away from the grocery stores and embracing their independence by nurturing their own gardens. They are not just growing food for themselves, they are expanding the community's food supply. Those remarkable women, right here in the Federal Capital Territory, have fully embraced the Every Home a Garden initiative led by the Nigerian's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu. Their efforts go beyond just planting vegetables, fruits, and herbs. They are rearing chickens, goats, rams, and even fish. It's incredible how self-sufficient they have become in almost every aspect of agriculture. Nimat is really pushing the envelope with her hydroponics and greenhouse farming, taking her home garden to a whole new level.
You don't really need soil in this type of farming. All you need is liquid nutrient like fish water and some other liquid nutrient from natural organic liquid nutrient from our plants.
And then there's Amodatu. Her passion for growing her own food has made her to transform nearly every available space around her house into a garden.
Is this ogele you want to take? Is it shoko? Is it ewedu? Is it dandelion? Is it ebolo? Anyone you need, water leaf. I have them here. So at any time I feel like taking them, I just move to my garden and pluck them.
The FCT Mandate Secretary isn't letting up either. She emphasized that the ultimate goal is to create widespread awareness and inspire even more women to start their own home gardens.
This Every Home a Garden initiative of the First Lady, the Renewed Hope Initiative, has really gained grounds. At least you've seen a little of what we've done. We have really reached people from all the 6 local government areas of FCT. It just tells us one story. The woman is actually the support system.
As we look forward to the grand finale of the Every Home a Garden initiative, there is exciting news. A grand cash prize will be awarded to the top gardener, recognizing her hard work and creativity long after the event is over. But beyond this competition, there's a shared hope that the spirit of this initiative will continue to thrive, encouraging women to sustain their own gardens and strengthen their communities long after the event is over.
Yes, Alika, this initiative matters to me as well. I'm warming up to win the grand prize because I also have a garden in my home. If you're in doubt, why don't you pay a visit? Thanks a lot. And on this note, we conclude the correspondence this week. Do join us again for another interesting package next week. From all of us here, it's bye for now. And God bless Nigeria.